Ready for her midday Facebook Live. I'm just going to refresh Facebook and see if the video is coming up yet. So I'm just going to keep doing that, and hopefully I'll see myself appear on my feed in just a second or two. And meanwhile, we can make sure this is getting shared into all the groups. Fantastic. I can see that it's popped up now. While I'm talking and what have you, obviously feel free to give me some love so I know that you can hear me. So Todd's online. Can you hear me, Todd? Is everything coming through loud and clear? Yeah, it'd be great to know. And obviously if other people join, then feel free to show me some love during it. Obviously you can ask me questions and that kind of thing. It's still a couple of minutes till 12, so I'll just talk to myself here for a few minutes while everybody else joins in. I hope you're having a good day so far. The sun's shining. I've had to block out the sun on one side of me just so you can actually see me. Let's just bring the camera in a bit further, because what I see is slightly different to what you see. So now I can see what you can see. I know I need to adjust that slightly. So let's see how that looks now on the main screen, as there's a bit of a delay. So okay, you can still see a bit of the stuff behind me. So let's bring that in a little bit more. See how that goes. It's interesting, as soon as what I see on my iPad is different to what you get projected onto Facebook. So that's quite interesting that it changes that. I'm not quite sure why it does that. But there we go, that's a little bit better, isn't it? We'll leave it there. So we've got 3 people so far, 4 people so far, so I'll hold on for another minute or two. It's not quite midday. We've got like 20 to 30 people that have said they're joining, so I'll give them a few more minutes to log on. So, right, who else is going to give me some comments? So I can see Laura Shuckbur's around. Hi, Laura. James, hi James, how you doing? Hi Laura, thanks for saying hello. It's always good to know you're not talking to yourself when you're doing one of these. Just while we're waiting for people to join, I will share that this is way outside my comfort zone. So anybody who thinks that I love doing video and this is like second nature, you'd be totally wrong. So I'm doing this because I know it's the right thing to do, not because I actually love doing video. So I love speaking in front of audiences, but when you put me in front of a camera, I really find that quite hard. Oh, Caroline's here too, and Claire. Fantastic. So we've got 8 people so far. Yes, Todd, it is all your fault. Hi, Alison. Great to see you too. How are we doing? So we're up to 10, and it's just clicked on to midday. So I'll keep chatting away for another minute and see if we get some more people along. And one of the reasons that I thought doing this today was a good plan is because tomorrow I'm off to Milton Keynes lunch to do a very similar talk to this one, and I thought actually, you know what, it makes sense doing this on a Facebook Live and sharing it with more people, because obviously it's fab going to Milton Keynes lunch, and I've heard they've got a really good number to hear me tomorrow, which is fantastic. But actually there's lots of people that have booked onto this now that actually I wouldn't probably get to see networking, so it makes sense that I actually go and do it. I've got a message from Melissa saying, have you started? I can't hear anything. Well, Roger Green says hi. So can everybody, if you can hear me, can you just show me some love and just let me see some emojis flying so I know you can all hear me, and hopefully that's just a problem at Alyssa's end. So let me know, show some love, show that you can hear me would be great. So we're up to 14 people. Oh yeah, okay, there's emojis coming, so I'm guessing you can hear me. We're up to 14 now. It's now 12:01, so I'm going to kick off. So, hi everybody, I'm Claire McTurnan. I'm the only person in the UK that specialises in sustainable growth for service businesses. So basically that means I help people who in essence charge for their time actually get their businesses growing in a way that's repeatable and consistent, so you don't get all those horrible peaks and troughs that happen that so many other businesses suffer from. Okay, as much as I specialise in service-based businesses, I do also help other businesses like fantastic network marketing people and this kind of thing. And the reason I wanted to do this talk today, I've got Jonathan Lee saying, where do I click to get on this? Hopefully, Jonathan, you would have seen the links being shared into the actual event. So hopefully you can see that and click on it and be able to join us. If not, you'll get the replay. So one of the reasons I want to share this is I'm very much a heart-centered entrepreneur. And I know a lot of you are the same. And basically, we started our business because we felt that we had some expertise we wanted to be able to share with other people, or we had a great opportunity we wanted to be able to share with other people. And we didn't do it because we thought we were really, really good at sales and marketing. In fact, when I started up, that was my biggest fear. I was really fearful of the sales and marketing bit. You know, that was almost a big enough fear to stop me doing it in the first place. But I kind of decided to move through that, launch the business, and off I went. And I learned over those first 12 months of how to actually get my message out there in a way that was quite compelling and helped me just attract my ideal clients straight to my door. Because one of the major side effects of being in business is we do actually have to market and sell what we do. But that can feel quite icky and just not what we want to do. And what I'm going to share with you today are the 5 things that if you get them right and get them working really, really well in your business, it takes that whole icky sales and marketing thing totally off your plate. So hopefully that's what you've tuned in to listen to, and I haven't just given you some other summary of a talk you thought you were going to hear. So I'm going to start sharing point number 1. So point number 1 is all about knowing who your ideal clients are. So if I say the question, who are your ideal clients, hopefully you haven't just thought in your head, anyone, or any business owner, or anybody with skin, I've heard before, or one of those kind of comments, because you cannot market successfully to everybody. You know, that is just not an effective way to market your business. And this could be one of the biggest reasons why you're struggling to gain the clients you want to work with, because that in itself is hugely client unattractive when you say you can work with anyone. So, you know, that's all very well, isn't it? So how do you actually work out who your ideal clients are? The best way of doing this is to look at who you've worked with, but you've really enjoyed working with. And if you get a list of them together, and you can look down and find the common ground. Now, the reason we want to have ideal clients is because we want to enjoy what we do. Because I tell you, it's much more fun spending your days working with ideal clients. These are the people that make your heart sing rather than sink. You know what it's like if you look at your diary and you can see you've got entries to work with certain people in your diary, and obviously you want to look at those and go, oh God, that's great, I love working with them. You don't look at them and go, oh God, I dread going into that meeting. Or, you know, when you have certain people that want to join your team, you want those to be the right people. You want to be able to enjoy working with them. That's why it's so fundamentally important to understand who your ideal clients are. The way I think about this is, imagine you had a phone call. This is, where's the camera? You have a phone call, and this phone call is like your ideal prospect, and you have a great conversation with them. You put the phone down, you turn to your other half and say, wow, that was just like the perfect phone call. They were the perfect prospect for me. Well, what would have made them the perfect prospect? What do they need to have talked to you about on that phone call to have made them totally ideal for you? Now, invariably, this is a combination of maybe the type of business they're in, or their background, or it could be the type of requirement they have. I know a lot of creative sectors like graphic designers and web developers love it when they can work with a client who has a really clear idea of their exact requirement. So that could be it. Maybe they had a perfect requirement, they just distilled it out perfectly for you. Maybe it's the size of the budget they have makes them ideal. Maybe it's where they're located. It could be any of those. Maybe it's their age. It could be anything that makes them ideal. But just think about, if you had one of those perfect conversations, what would have made it perfect? The other way I think of this is often like Christmas Day. Do you remember when you were a child on Christmas Day and you'd be really excited about opening your presents on Christmas morning to see what Santa bought you? Now, can you remember that one thing you'd always said that you wanted from Santa but you never got? You know, can you remember that one thing? For me, it was a Mr. Frosty ice maker. Do you remember those Mr. Frosty sort of like shaped in a snowman ice makers? I used to always ask for that and I never got it. So that, to use this in the business analogy, Mr. Frosty was my ideal client. I was desperate for Mr. Frosty, but somehow I didn't convey that effectively enough to my mum to make sure Santa actually gave me Mr. Frosty. Obviously, my mum must have decided it wasn't a good purchase for whatever reason. But maybe I just didn't convey it well enough. Maybe I wasn't clear enough about who Mr. Frosty was, like why Mr. Frosty was the one I wanted, like where to find Mr. Frosty, or some kind of that information. Now think about in business terms, if you're not clear about who your ideal clients are, then people don't know they are your ideal clients. Your diary is not going to magically fill with ideal clients or ideal team members or ideal people to buy your products if you cannot define what that ideal person appears like, what they look like, where they live, what they want to buy from you, how they behave. That is why it is fundamentally important to be able to define your ideal client. I know sometimes people just like bat this away and kind of ignore it, but it is so incredibly fundamentally important to define it. For me, my ideal clients are on average between 1 to 5 members of staff, so anything from one-man bands up to 5 staff, which usually means I have up to £500,000 turnover. And obviously they're a service-based business, like I've already mentioned. Those are my ideal clients. But on top of that, they have to be really hungry to grow, because growing your business invariably means you need to change what you're doing. And to make a change, you have to be pretty keen to do it. So they've got to have that hunger, that drive to actually make that change, to make them really ideal. And there's certain things I do when I'm talking to ideal prospects to make sure they do fulfil that criteria. And to be honest, if I go into that, this will turn into a 3-hour seminar and not a 30-minute one. So I'm going to not go off on a tangent with that. Okay, but hopefully I've conveyed why it is really important to have that definition of ideal clients. And that brings me on seamlessly to point number 2. Once you know your ideal clients, you have to be able to explain the value you deliver. Now, this is the bit people actually buy. It's very easy to convince ourselves that what people buy are the features. So, what they would be buying for me would be working with me on a fortnightly basis. But actually, they're not buying that at all. That's just just the way it happens. But they're not buying that. What they're buying is their belief that by working with me, I'm going to help them transform their business to get their results bigger, to double their revenue, double their profits, that kind of thing. That's the bit they're buying. That is the value in working with me. If you're a network marketer, the value is in that opportunity you're selling to future team members. They want to buy into that opportunity. It's about that value. It's not about the fact they're going to have to recruit team members themselves to grow their business and sell products. That's not what they're buying. They're buying that value, that transformation. Now, one of the great phrases I always keep in my head that helps me remember how to position this and helps my clients do it as well is it's all about people buy the destination, not the plane. So if you think about this quite literally when it comes to a holiday, so people they know they've got to go on a plane if they want a week in the sun somewhere abroad, but they're not physically buying being on a plane for, say, 6 hours. That bit they don't really care about. They acknowledge they need to do it, but what they're buying is the 2 weeks holiday in the sun with their family. They're buying that transformation, that chill time, that quality time with their family, so they can totally relax and unwind. That is the value that they're actually buying. They're not buying the fact that they're going to be on a plane for 6 hours. That is literally the way to get there. They are buying that final destination. So it's really important, thank you for the love, but it's really important that you can describe that value, because obviously people make emotional buying decisions for logical reasons, and the bigger the price tag of your services or the product or the opportunity, then the more you need to be able to describe that value. I mean, if you're going into Sainsbury's to buy a box of cereal, you don't overly need to describe the value. It's a real commodity purchase. You don't overly engage brain. But the more significant that purchase is, the more you'll think about it, and the bigger the sense of value needs to be for the person making that decision. So you have to be able to describe that value. And you can only really describe that value well if you know who you're selling it to, if you know your ideal clients. And the thing to think about is, if your ideal client, if what you're selling is the kind of thing your ideal client is going to lie awake at night worrying about because they need it, what is it they're worrying about specifically that you can address? So for me, my ideal clients are potentially going to be lying awake at night worrying about, oh my God, I'm working so hard, but I need to bring online more clients. How on earth am I going to achieve it? Or, I'm working really, really hard, but my business isn't delivering what I need it to deliver. What am I missing? What am I doing wrong? These are the kind of things my ideal clients are going to be thinking about. If you're, say, a social media agency, because I can see Todd giving me some love, for him it's going to be people that are lying awake knowing that they're spending time doing social media but not getting it right. So knowing they need to get their message out there across social media and just wanting to know what is the recipe they need to use to get their message out there properly. It's that kind of thing. You have to tap into your ideal client's worries and pain to be able to describe the value you deliver. When you get that right, this is like pure marketing gold dust, okay? And one of the best ways of getting it right is to actually talk to your current ideal clients. So who do you already work with that are totally ideal for you? And ask them, why did they come on board with you in the first place? If they bought a service, ask them why. If they've bought into the opportunity, if you're a network marketer, ask them why specifically. Because the words they use will be the things you need to use when you market. I used to think, and I've done it already on this seminar, I used to think people work with me because they wanted to increase revenue and profit. But actually, when I actually ask them, invariably what they want is the focus and accountability and the knowledge of what things they need to do in what order. And they assume then that will naturally give them the revenue and profit benefits of working with me. They're not actually buying that revenue and profit bit, they're buying that focus and working with somebody who knows what they need to get done. So when you actually talk to them, it helps you reposition what your value is. And that becomes really client attractive when you get it out there and you can market with those phrases. Obviously, Todd liked the fact I used them as an example, I think. So that was key number 2. So we've got ideal clients was the first main thing you've got to get nailed. Then you've got to nail the value you deliver to them. So number 3 is all about your USPs, your unique selling points. Now, I bet if I say to most of you, do you feel like you're unique from a business perspective, you'll say no. You know, and on some levels, I could say no too. I mean, I hate calling myself a business coach, but there are hundreds and hundreds of business coaches and management consultants and business development people out there, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So how do I make myself unique when there's that many other people out there? And the thing to do is, if we strip away our business for a minute and just view ourselves as individuals, we'll all acknowledge that we are unique. As an individual person, as Claire McTurnan, mother of 2, I am totally unique. There isn't another Claire McTurnan like me out there. Thank God, says my husband. Right, you know, it's that kind of thing. As an individual, we are totally unique. Now, if we're unique as an individual, therefore that means when we put on our business layer, we must still be unique. Because our individual uniqueness hasn't gone away. All we've done is added an extra layer to it. So if we're really clever about how we articulate our uniqueness, then we will stand out from the crowd. I mean, it's by no accident I can say I'm the only person in the UK that specialises in sustainable growth for service businesses. I mean, that makes me totally individual, but yet there are hundreds and hundreds of business coaches out there. And I got to that phrase by tapping into who exactly were my ideal clients and the value I deliver. Okay, so when you do these kind of exercises, it is really easy to make yourself unique. You know, let's take a network marketing example. So obviously there's quite a lot of forever living people, utility warehouse people, but you'll all be doing it very individually based on your set of experiences that have led you to doing your business. And that's the bit you've got to remember. People buy from people. It's your uniqueness people are buying. So you have to be able to convey that articulately to help people know that you're the one they need to buy from. We are all unique. You just have to remember that and add it into the mix. So that was number 3. So we now have ideal clients. Where's the camera? Ideal clients. We have the value you deliver, and we have our USPs, our unique selling points. Okay, I know USPs can be really hard. If you write down your list of USPs and you look at them and you know that other people could say the same thing, then that means it is not unique. Sometimes it's the combination of them that will make you unique. It's not that them individually will be unique, but it's the combination that will make you unique. So just keep challenging yourself on that list to make it as unique as you can. Okay, now I'm going to move on to number 4. Now, if you've done this well, if you've done your ideal client definitions well, and you've articulated nicely the value you deliver, and you've added into it some properly unique USPs, because you don't want to be a Wally, you do want to stand out, then you will naturally have built yourself a niche. Now, I know from practice and experience with my clients, if I say to them, you know, you really ought to niche, what they tend to do is start having a mild panic attack, thinking that there's all this business they're about to shut out because being niched is about being very focused and narrow, and that feels a bit scary. But, you know, there is a big reason why the people in the States say you have to niche to be rich. Now, obviously, in England, saying niche to be rich doesn't sound quite so good, but it is so true. The more focused you are on who you can help, it is so much more client attractive, and this is one of the great things that will really help bring your ideal people straight to your door. Okay, now the thing to think about on this viewpoint is, instead of thinking about a niche, think about being a specialist versus a generalist. Okay, so imagine you want to get your hip replaced and you have 2 options of who's going to do the surgery. You've got your GP or you've got an orthopaedic surgeon. Now, I imagine most of us would opt for the orthopaedic surgeon because we know he or she is a specialist in their field, would have done this over and over again and knows exactly what they're doing. Whereas our GP, as lovely as they are, will not have that level of experience, and you wouldn't want to entrust your hip replacement to the GP, as lovely as they might be. You will go to the orthopaedic surgeon. So take that into your business context. If somebody has a choice of you or several other people that broadly do what you do, but they come from a very specific sector which matches perfectly to your niche, they are far more likely to choose you to do the work, aren't they? Because they're going to go, whoa, they know all about my pain, my niche, they're talking exactly to my needs, I'm going to choose them. That's why niching works. As scary as it may be, you really do have to do it. And if you've done steps 1, 2 and 3 well, so the ideal client, the value you deliver and your USPs, if you've got those beautifully nailed, it will naturally give you your niche. You won't have to think about it. Your niche will fall out of that process. And all of a sudden, you've become a specialist. And what I love even more about that, when you nail those points, you can put your fees up. You know, because now you really have started to put yourself into a really unique position. Your expertise will go through the roof. People will flock to you because they'll know you're the one, you know, and then you can start charging much more. In a network marketing scenario, it means people will want to join your team because you're the one that can really, really help them. Okay, this stuff becomes hugely client attractive. It's all about making this totally effortless. Okay, so that was number 4. So now number 5, and this is, you know, this is where a lot of people come unstuck. Usually point number 1 they have difficulties with, because if they struggle to define their ideal clients, then everything else falls apart. And point number 5 is really, really key. Point number 5 relies on going out there and telling the world you exist. Now, the first 4 steps are quite sort of like internally focused, aren't they? You can sit at your desk and work those 4 out. You can have a bit of a chat with your existing clients, but it's not a scary thing to do, is it? You don't have to go out there and tell the world you exist to do those bits. Step 5 is all about going out there and telling the world you exist. Okay? What I want you to imagine is that you are sitting on top of your sales funnel. I'm going to give you a picture to help with this. So imagine this is you on top of your sales funnel, okay? And you are controlling the tap, which controls how many leads flow into your sales funnel and give you customers at the end of the day. Now, the problem is, most of us think we're sat on here, on this tap, and we have it on full. And we're out there telling the world who we are, what we do, and why people should work with us. And they think we're doing that loads, okay? But in reality, you're doing it a tiny, tiny amount. And because you're doing it a tiny, tiny amount, that's probably why you haven't got the number of sales you're after, okay? Now, the challenge is, if you're a well-kept secret, people cannot buy what you do. Now, I always approach this in a very sort of like heart-centered way. So, you know, this is all about if you know you can really help people, it is your duty to let them know you exist. If people really are lying awake at night worrying about stuff that you can fix, you need to tell them you're there to help them, because they're not going to find you otherwise. Okay, you have to go out there and spread the word so people know they need to come to your door because they need your services or they need to join your team. Okay, this is really fundamentally important. You know, if you think about it, on average, well, not on average, people should use 8 to 10, where's the camera, 8 to 10 different marketing channels, okay? Most people use 2, okay? Using 2 is not going to get you out there in a big way. And for most people, they'll say they've got a website and they go networking, okay? But yet most people will get the majority of their work from referrals or maybe networking. Now, if that is the case, if that's happening to you and you're relying on referrals or networking to gain new clients or new team members, there's something not quite right with your marketing. Okay, and it's probably that definition of your ideal clients where it's going wrong. You're not describing who you can really help. Once you get that bit nailed, the rest becomes easy, and it's easy then to scale up the amount of marketing you're doing so more and more people know you exist. I mean, these days with digital marketing, all the stuff that's available to us with Facebook Lives and everything else, it's so easy to get your message out there in a huge way. And by doing that, you will gain more sales. If you can get the first 4 steps nailed, so the first 4 steps around ideal clients, the value you deliver, being unique, niching, then step number 5, about getting out there in a big way, just becomes totally, totally easy and effortless. You just add on new marketing channels as you go, and people will start coming to your door. If you play a really small game and don't let enough people know you exist, you will not get the number of sales you need to grow your business. Okay? You know, getting out there in a big way is directly related to the number of sales you gain. So right now, if you're not getting the sales, it's either because your message isn't good enough and or you're not getting out there in a big enough way. Okay? Both are really quick to solve. You know, literally it's an afternoon to get your marketing message right. It's an afternoon to actually decide how you're going to improve the marketing for your business, what extra stuff you're going to do. Going to a couple of networking events a week isn't going to cut it if you want to get a lot of clients, okay? It really is that basic and that straightforward. So those are the 5 points. And I'm probably time's about right, so it's 12:22. I thought I'd probably talk for about 18 minutes. That's probably about right. Now the challenge is, I'm certainly not the first person to tell you about those 5 steps. I'm absolutely not. And in reality, there's 30 of you watching right now. There'll be more people watching the replay. Out of all of you, 80% of you won't actually do anything off the back of this. You'll think some of the stuff would have been good, you think, oh yeah, I need to do that, but you won't actually take action. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, you'll just get stuck and you'll find it so hard, you'll decide not to move forward with it, which means you won't progress your business in the way you want to. Number two, it'll be outside your comfort zone. Okay, some of this stuff does require a little bit of soul searching to work out who your ideal clients are. It can be tricky to work out how to explain how, the value you deliver. That stuff doesn't always come easy to people, and I totally get that. And those will be the reasons why people don't take action. But please don't be those people. Please don't be the 80%. To me, sales and marketing are two ends of the same spectrum to me. You start with marketing, you start with telling people what you do, and you end up with clients. Okay, and as you go through that process, you have to do different things at different times to help secure the clients. I mean, there's a reason why full sites and full networking and TED Talks are only 18 minutes long, because that's the ideal length of time, but people will stay focused on a talk. I've now gone over my 18 minutes, so I know I'm going to start to lose you. But what I want to tell you is there is a way to actually get help doing this kind of stuff. I'm running a workshop on Friday the 7th of April, which is all about how to make the selling easy. And this is all for heart-centered entrepreneurs that struggle to get this kind of stuff done. And in that workshop, we're going to work together on all that stuff I've just talked about. But we're also going to talk about how to manage that sales conversation. So when you do get in front of someone that you think is ideal, you know how to close them without having to think about it, without having to hit that point in that conversation where your head starts going, oh my God, I'm going to have to ask them if they want to join or if they want to use my services. I'll show you how to get over that ickiness so you don't. So they ask you about what they have to do to work with you or join your team. Okay, it really is that simple. I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you how to package what you do so people buy more of it more often. So I'll show you how to really boost your sales. I'll help you get all of this stuff articulated, so by the time you leave the room on the 7th of April, you've got it all nailed. You can walk out and implement straight away. We'll do the hard stuff together because you kind of need someone to push you and get it done. This stuff so works. I totally believe in the power of this kind of marketing. It's really heart-centered, it's easy, it's effortless, it really does work. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make sure we put the details for that workshop in the links below, in the comments below. If you have any questions, please do let me know. I absolutely love what I do, and the reason I love what I do is because my clients get great results, and it's all sensible stuff. None of my clients have to do anything scary. It's all sensible stuff to get some really, really cool results and grow really, really quickly. So if you are feeling like a bit frustrated with the way your business is growing, or if you just want to chat or need some help, please do put your hand up. Life is too short to have a business that's fundamentally not working for you. So if you're working too long, or you're just not getting your clients in that you want to, or you're struggling to recruit team members, please either send me a personal message or put something in the comments below and let me help. That's what this is about. So I'm going to be quiet now because I've talked to you for 25 minutes and I think that's enough for anybody to listen to my voice. So I'm just going to sign off. I'm Claire McTurnan, the UK's only expert in sustainable growth for service businesses. I've loved sharing this with you today. Hopefully you can watch it on the replay, then you can slow me down and take notes a bit better and that kind of stuff. If you do want to know more about the workshop, then please drop me a message. Thanks very much. Bye.